What's going on, everybody? Welcome to GameFreak, and welcome to another episode of PS3 Throwbacks. And what we are about to look at today are actually games that came out on the PS2, but this particular collection was not released until the PS3 era. And what I am talking about is the Ratchet and Clank collection. This has 3 games on it. This has the original Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, and Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. So, we are going to dive into this and check these games out and see if they're still worth playing today. Let's go. The Ratchet and Clank games feature a mix of platforming, action, and role-playing gameplay elements presented in the third-person perspective, focused on the use of unique weapons and gadgets that Ratchet gains over the course of each game. Ratchet starts each game with his versatile Omni Wrench for melee attacks, but new weapons are made available by completing missions or buying them through a weapon vendor. Most weapons have a limited amount of ammunition, requiring the player to use ammunition efficiently to avoid running out of firepower. Ammunition can be restocked from vendors or by breaking crates scattered across the levels. In addition to weapons, Ratchet gains many gadgets with varying uses. Some gadgets are necessary to travel about some levels, such as grind boots that allow Ratchet to grind on rails, or a swing shot that allows him to grapple a target and swing across gaps. Other gadgets can be used in combat as a means to distract foes, and others are needed to unlock certain doors and thus continue missions. In these cases, the player typically must solve a puzzle or a minigame in order to successfully use the gadget and unlock the door. The game is broken down into a series of missions that take place on numerous planets across the galaxy. While most objectives must be completed in a certain order to progress the main story, other objectives are optional but can lead to useful rewards. Once the player has completed a mission on a planet, they can typically return to any previous planet they have visited to attempt missions they could not complete before. In addition to objectives based on platforming and weapon elements, missions may include minigames such as various races and arena combat. Typically, 1 or 2 of these minigames must be performed as part of the main story, but further optional challenges can be done to earn greater rewards, typically in the form of bolts. That is the unit's currency used throughout the game. There are also missions that focus on Clank, often controlling a set of smaller robots called Gadgebots to travel through areas that Ratchet cannot. Clank's gameplay sections in mainline titles after Tools of Destruction are also considerably more experimental in their gameplay mechanics. Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. The game follows Ratchet and Clank, joined by newcomer Angela Cross, as they attempt to unravel a conspiracy in a new galaxy involving a mysterious pet project orchestrated by the shadowy Megacorp. The gameplay of Going Commando is similar to that of the original Ratchet and Clank. The player-controlled protagonists are seen from a third-person perspective. The player progresses through the story by using various weapons and gadgets to defeat enemies and solve puzzles, while exploring planets, completing platforming sections, and minigames. The game features many improvements over the original game. Now, Going Commando was released roughly a year after the original game and received critical acclaim. It has frequently been listed as one of the best PlayStation 2 games. Most critics felt that the game was superior to its predecessor and praised the game's graphics, gameplay, story, characterization, and sound. Some criticized its unforgiving difficulty and minigames. On to Ratchet and Clank, Up Your Arsenal. The gameplay is similar to previous games in the series and introduced features such as a new control system and more levels in the upgrade system for weapons. It follows Ratchet and Clank's adventure through a fictional universe to defeat a robotic villain, Dr. Nefarious, who intends to destroy all organic life. Characters such as Dr. Nefarious and Sasha, who is a starship captain who helps Ratchet throughout the game, are introduced, and a number of characters return from the original Ratchet and Clank. Up Your Arsenal is the first in the series to offer online multiplayer as well as single player. The service was terminated for the PlayStation 2 in June 2012 and for the PlayStation 3 in February 2018. Multiplayer features 3 different modes of play available on all of the maps and has a selection of the weapons from the single-player game. As well as the multiplayer mode, it has many other differences compared to its predecessors, such as higher quality graphics, larger worlds, and drivable vehicles. The voice cast from the previous game returned as their respective characters, and new actors were hired to voice the new characters. The game was met with critical acclaim upon release, earning an average review score of 91% at Metacritic. So it's just crazy how much fun I had going through all 3 of these games on this disc. It was so much fun. To think that some of these, or a couple of these games anyway, are over 20 years old is just crazy. Like the control scheme on it, it's real smooth. A lot more smooth than like Jack and Daxter, I'm sorry. But it's a lot more smooth than that. And this is such a replayable series. This is so much fun. I forgot like a lot of parts of this game until I dug into it and started playing them again. And man, it's a blast. So if you do have this disc, I recommend throwing it back in that PS3 and giving it a whirl again. It's a lot of fun. If you don't have it, I'd look around, maybe on Amazon or something. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. I want to thank you guys for joining me and going back in time, playing some really cool games here. Ratchet and Clank, this 3-game collection, well worth it. So if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Really helps out the channel a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. And until the next episode, game on, everybody.